Musical talent is everywhere, but opportunity isn't. Awards for Young Musicians are here to change this. For 25 years, we've supported talented young people from low-income families, helping them overcome financial and social barriers. In April 2008, AYM secured funding to pilot a new programme called Furthering Talent, working with 5 of England's music partnership areas. The programme was created to tackle one of the biggest challenges facing young people, the lack of financial and other support for making music once free, whole-class instrumental tuition in primary school came to an end. And Furthering Talent has been developing and expanding ever since. The programme has 4 core elements for every student. Weekly instrumental lessons on their choice of instrument, personal bursary to spend on musical items, activities, or anything that supports their progression, an individual learning plan through which each young person sets their own musical goals in conversation with their teacher. This is now hosted digitally on Charanga's Yumu platform. And 3 termly participatory musical experiences that we call get-togethers. Between 2018 and 2023, with substantial youth music and other funding, AYM delivered Furthering Talent in partnership with 15 music hubs in England, and each area had a local coordinator to oversee the programme. Funded by AYM for 1 day a week, they worked with local teachers, music leaders and others to identify those who would benefit most from the programme. Typically, students were from mainstream education, but some hubs actively sought nominations from children's services, pupil referral units, youth clubs and many other organisations. Local coordinators also provided one-to-one support for the instrumental teachers, as well as organising a termly teachers forum, which is an opportunity to share information, experiences and ideas, and to be a reflective space for discussions around student progress and peer-to-peer support. In April 2023, our local coordinators became connectors, and the role increased to 2 days per week. We sat down with some of our connectors to talk about what continues to make the Furthering Talent programme a success. We explored the key differences the approach has made to the musical lives of the young people, families, teachers, schools and music hubs who have been part of the journey. Connectors also shared ideas on how other practitioners could embed some of this learning into their work. The heart of Furthering Talent is a young person-led, personalised learning approach via the Individual Learning Plan, or ILP. Student and teacher work together to agree 3 goals to work towards each term. The ILP assumes that technical development is already happening, so it asks teachers to look at the wider progression of each student and agrees targets accordingly. This personalised approach recognises that not all students learn in the same way, and that progression can mean different things to different young people. By working with their teacher to agree their goals, young people have greater ownership of their own musical journey, encouraging them to keep learning and exploring.
It's all about the students taking ownership of their learning. So they're in charge of what their pathway is going to be and what they want their journey to be. So whether it's learning a certain piece or whether it's going to a certain event or a concert, I think it's just about letting the students take ownership over it.
Yeah, for me it's starting from where the student already is. So looking at what they already can do, what they've previously done. Some of our students have been teaching themselves at home, for example, or experimenting with music online. So starting from where they already are, what their interests are, and then building from that.
I've been lucky enough to be able to teach on the programme as well, which has given me an insight as a teacher, as well as being a connector into how it impacts students. But I think one good example I have was of a group I had of year 6s. One of them said when we're doing their ILP that they really wanted to be a flute buddy for one of the new students, the new ones that I started. It was something that hadn't really occurred to me before. I hadn't thought of it as like something they could do. And then I sort of discussed it a bit more with them as a group, and they decided they wanted to give a lesson to their new year 3s. So we sort of planned it. They planned different activities. They got some pieces that they wanted to perform to them. And then they did this session, which was brilliant, and the new students loved it, they loved it, and that entirely came from like the ILPs and it being a student-led approach, because I don't think I would have necessarily thought of that.
Central to Furthering Talent's ongoing success is the team of connectors running the programme in our partner hubs. They ensure it's smooth day-to-day management in their region, but their biggest impact is in the tailored support they give to the families and young people taking part.
I think it's about putting the young person right at the centre and really building that community around them.
Totally agree, but for me, I kind of thought of it as developing relationships and support networks with all the stakeholders involved in the programme. So as you said, the young people at the centre, but then also the families and music leaders, the music organisations connected to the hub itself. I think the connector role is really critical to the programme, and I see it kind of as an inclusion role. So having local knowledge and understanding the local context can help you build the communities which will therefore benefit the children and the practitioners, and I think it's all kind of a circle.
Whilst every child on Furthering Talent is from a low-income family, this often comes hand in hand with a range of additional barriers to engagement. For example, English as a second language, complex learning needs, or caring responsibilities. Our connectors work closely with each family, finding ways to overcome obstacles and ensuring good communication. They also work with a range of other organisations, schools and teachers, strengthening these communities of support which help encourage each young person to continue in their music making.
Music shouldn't just happen by chance. Progression and roots should be there, it should be really clear. And I think when you have a young person on Furthering Talent, you can show those progression routes really clearly. We've had a young person come to us and they can't do GCSE music. So we've got them being taught outside of school, and then we've put them in touch with secondary school, and that means that they can do their A-level there while still being able to do the music outside of school.
All of our students on the Liverpool programme attend some form of special education provision, whether that's a base attached to a mainstream school or whether it's a specialist school. And traditionally in those schools, they perhaps wouldn't have been able to access one-to-one instrumental tuition. So just the fact that we've got instrumental teachers going in and giving those high-quality one-to-one lessons is already overcome quite a big barrier for some of those. We've got 3 students who have now chosen to take GCSE music this year, which is fantastic. And one of those, her special school that she goes to don't provide GCSE music, as most special schools aren't able to. But through working with myself as the connector and the hub, we've managed to create a provision where she attends a local mainstream school to do her GCSE music there. And that's been a huge thing for her. It's probably going to be the only GCSE that she works towards. And we already know that she's doing really well with that. So that's had a huge impact on her education.
Building these communities of support helps to strengthen the relationships between all of the musicians on the programme. It also encourages greater parental engagement in their child's music making, which often results in a more sustained progression.
They do have a community amongst themselves now that's been going a few years. The young ones definitely look up to the older ones.
Having mentors within the program that can say, oh, we've done this before, now we're going to try this, like, come along with us. And for new pupils coming into the Furthering Talent program, they join in and they follow, which they might not have done if there hadn't been that team family spirit around it all.
I saw, some children see their parents at an event. The parents saw some of the school staff there, including the head teacher, who was laughing and enjoying herself. And after that, some of those parents would go into school where previously they didn't have the confidence to do that, and that impacted on their children, saying, my mum goes into school now and it's great. So I think it's a really important role.
Each term, connectors organise a get-together event in their hub. These events are an opportunity to introduce young people to the amazing world of music, inspiring students' music making by providing exciting musical experiences and giving them opportunities they may not otherwise have access to. Events are incredibly musically diverse, with connectors constantly seeking out new musical partnerships.
Try and offer as many different varieties of get-togethers as possible. We've done Japanese drumming, we've done Indian drumming, DJing, beatboxing, we've done some live music performing as individuals, as ensembles. We've taken them to live music events, concerts, productions. It has made students more aware of the opportunities out there. We've had 4 or 5 students this academic year that have changed instruments. So I think they've just seen through the programme, through the get-togethers, the fact that they have a choice and they start to choose their own journey.
I think it's making them realise that their musical world is bigger than what they experienced already. Like one of our kids plays cello, but he's obsessed with AC/DC. I think it's sort of giving him the courage to sort of tell his teacher, I want to play Thunderstruck by AC/DC, so that's what he's doing.
We've had a guitar student at one of the workshops, through the DJing and through the beatboxing, has discovered new technology, GarageBand and everything else.
In addition to the main programme, Furthering Talent students are regularly able to access a wide range of other opportunities via AYM and its partners, with connectors always on the lookout for new ways to support each young person's musical development. A great example is AYM's ongoing partnership with the BBC Symphony Orchestra. Throughout 2022, a group of Furthering Talent students had regular mentoring sessions with members of the orchestra, where they explored different musical journeys and learned more about the life of a professional musician. They were also invited to visit the BBC Proms at the Royal Albert Hall and take part in 2 special events at BBC Maida Vale Studios.
One of our pupils on Furthering Talent was joined up with a BBC Symphony Orchestra on their mentor scheme, and she got to meet a professional violinist and have them as a mentor. She got to go down to the Maida Vale Studios, she got to see the orchestra play, and that was just really inspiring for her to say that was probably a child who was never ever seen a live orchestra before. It's also been working with organisations like the National Children's Orchestra, who came to us asking us what barriers there were to our Furthering Talent pupils even applying to the orchestra. So we worked with them to break down the barriers that the children might have to apply for the orchestra, and we had 2 pupils last year apply and successfully gain a place on their projects programme. So it's allowing our Furthering Talent pupils to apply and be successful into gaining places on national orchestras as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's giving more conversation around what the barriers are and what these young people can access and how can we give them what they actually need for their journey.
Yeah, and it about making them more confident in themselves as well, to think that they can apply for national programmes, and giving the parents the information that they wouldn't normally have about these places, and lots and lots of different musical opportunities.
Putting a seed in their head that means that they can see where they want to go with it.
Our partner hubs also took part in our Talent to Talent mentoring programme, combining peer mentoring opportunities with creative music making for young musicians at different stages of their musical journeys.
We've also had a Talent to Talent scheme in Hull where the young people got to work with university students and other young professionals at the start of their career, which is a more relatable way, and then they can see a pathway of where they can go once they finish school and finish their musical journey with us. We've also found that the kids have found their own voice really, and now are able to tell us what they want to do and where they want to go. So they're asking for specific things. We had one student who was really interested in technology and studios, so I reached out to our local BBC radio station, who offered him the chance to come and have an explore of their studios and meet a producer, and there's no way he would have had the opportunity without Furthering Talent.
Furthering Talent continues to go from strength to strength and currently runs in partnership with 10 music hubs, but will be growing this to 20 in the first part of 2024. Offering support to over 600 young people from low-income families. In addition, we've now launched an online version of the individual learning plan in partnership with Charanga, and it's available to all Charanga license holders to use. We've also developed our mentoring offer, with a trained mentor now working in each of our partner hubs, providing a further element of support for the young musicians on the programme. Thanks to funding from Arts Council England, the Department for Education and long-term partner Youth Music, we'll continue to develop the Furthering Talent programme in future, learning as we go listening to everyone involved through our evaluation process and adapting the model to best meet the needs of the young people taking part. To find out more about Furthering Talent and awards for young musicians as a whole, please visit www.a-y-m.org.uk.